All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're talking about one of the absolute most chilling urban legends of the digital age, a creature known simply as the Rake. Now, if you've spent any time at all exploring the spooky side of the internet, you've definitely seen the images or read the stories. But what we're going to do today is actually incredibly fun. We're going to completely deconstruct this modern monster. We'll look at the terrifying mythology that's kept readers up at night for years, and then we'll contrast that with the fascinating, entirely human reality of how this digital cryptid was actually born. It is literally a perfect case study in how modern folklore is created, shared, and ultimately totally transformed. To really understand the grip this creature has on the internet's imagination, we have to start with the lore itself. Just listen to this supposed 1964 suicide note. It serves as the perfect spooky hook. In the fiction of the story, this note was left by a victim who had been repeatedly visited by the creature. The text describes an entity so terrifying, so relentless in its psychological torment, that the victim chose to end their own life rather than face the prospect of waking up to see it again. It immediately establishes the massive stakes and the unique, creeping brand of terror associated with the legend. Section 1. The chilling in-universe myth. An ancient, immortal entity. In the established lore of the creepypasta, the Rake isn't just some random feral animal. It's described as a sadistic, pale, hairless humanoid with incredibly sharp claws, which, you guessed it, is exactly where the name the Rake comes from. The stories detail how it stalks its victims, often just standing there at the very end of their beds while they sleep, silently watching them before it decides to attack, or worse, continuously torture them psychologically. It is pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel, tapping directly into that universal, primal fear of something lurking in the dark while we're at our most vulnerable. So, the crucial point here is pulling back the curtain to separate this terrifying fiction from reality. Where does a monster like this actually come from? If we strip away the supposed 1960s suicide notes and the tales of ancient horrors, what's the actual origin? Was it an old campfire story? Some obscure local folklore? Well, the truth is actually far more modern and, frankly, a brilliant example of internet culture. Part 2. Birth on a message board. The 4chan origins. The monster absolutely wasn't born in a cursed forest or a haunted house. It was born on the infamous image board 4chan, specifically on the B board back in late 2005. It was basically a giant exercise in collective creative writing. It all started with this incredibly simple, anonymous prompt. Hey B, let's make a new monster. That was it. That was the spark. From that single, random sentence, a massive crowdsourced brainstorming session just completely erupted. Users started pitching ideas, throwing different terrifying concepts at the wall just to see what would stick. They were quite literally engineering a nightmare by committee. And honestly, the result brilliantly illustrates the anatomy of a monster, pieced together from different users' suggestions to create something truly unsettling. They settled on some very specific original design traits back in 2005. They agreed on a height of about 6 feet, but noted it usually crouches. The skin was to be pale and grayish. The mouth, and this is a wonderfully creepy little detail, opens on a hinge to reveal hundreds of dull teeth. Not sharp, but dull. Interestingly, early drafts actually gave it 3 green eyes before they dialed it back to 2 larger than normal eyes to make it slightly more human, and therefore way more uncanny. And its habitat? Not a remote, spooky wilderness, but suburban front yards, just minding its own business until approached. Part 3. Expanding the Rake's lore. From forums to phenomenon. Now, for a monster to become a true internet legend, a proper creepypasta, it needs a broader narrative. It needs people to actively expand its universe and share it across different platforms. The major turning point for this guy happened on July 20, 2006. A user named Brian Somerville posted the first truly structured story about the Rake on his personal blog in a series called Horror Theater. And this post completely codified the myth. It added this deep, fake historical mythology to the creature. This is where the lore was expanded to include claims of first-hand accounts dating all the way back to the 12th century, and the first documented sightings supposedly occurring in 1691. This brilliant piece of fictional world-building is what gave the crowdsourced monster a terrifyingly plausible paper trail. Tracing the timeline of how this copypasta spread is wild, and it completely solidifies its place in modern digital folklore. It starts in 2005 on 4chan/B-board. Then, in 2006, it hits Brian Somerville's blog on Something Awful. By 2008, the text is spreading rapidly across LiveJournal. In 2009, it circles back to 4chan, but this time to their paranormal/X board, treating the story with a bit more gravity. Finally, by 2010, massive communities on Reddit's paranormal boards and dedicated Tumblr blogs like Fuck Yeah, the Rake turned the whole thing into a full-blown viral phenomenon. The contrast here is just absolutely fascinating. On one side, you have the deeply immersive in-universe lore, sightings since the 12th century, ancient documents from 1691, and a tragic suicide note from 1964. But on the flip side, the real-world facts prove it was literally just bored internet users in 2005 flexing their creativity and writing skills. It's a stunning testament to how effectively internet communities can collaborate to build modern mythology that feels every bit as ancient and heavy as traditional folklore. Part 4. The 2010 Media Hoax, When the Internet Spooked the News. The legend became so incredibly robust that it eventually started blurring the lines between digital fiction and real-world panic. Get this. In December 2010, the internet myth actually managed to spook the evening news. A local Louisiana news station broadcasted a terrifying, grainy photo that a viewer had submitted, supposedly taken out at a local hunting ground at night. Because the internet had been primed with the lore of the Rake for 5 solid years, viewers and YouTube commentators immediately saw the photo and declared it was a real-life sighting. However, the supposed monster photo was completely a hoax. The image was actually of a Grim, a hostile alien monster from the PlayStation video game Resistance 3. The fact that a video game screenshot could be broadcast on the evening news and instantly identified by the general public as the Rake shows exactly how deeply this legend had penetrated the mainstream consciousness. Part 5. From creepypasta to video games. The Rake Remastered. As the years went on, the Rake's identity totally shifted again. Today, it is transitioned from being an abstract, ambiguous horror story told around digital campfires into a rigid, stat-heavy video game antagonist. A prime example of this is the massive 2018 Roblox hit game, The Rake Remastered. To survive in this game, players can't rely on abstract fears anymore, they actually must know the precise mechanics of the monster. For example, they gave it a highly specific detection range of exactly 125 studs, a unit of measurement in Roblox, just to sniff out its victims. The formless, creeping dread of the original story has been completely converted into hard, measurable game design logic. If we check out the VS Battles wiki data for the game, we can see just how categorized the monster has become. It's now officially classified as a Tier 9C street-level threat. It has athletic human speed. It features sound manipulation, causing this loud, awful static noise when it gets near you. It uses stealth mastery to silently crouch behind players. And most terrifyingly, it features a mechanic called Blood Hour, which turns the entire sky red, gives the monster rage power, massively amplifies its stats, and completely disables the map's power plant. The lore has fully 100% evolved into a boss fight. Part 6. A Lost Media Mystery. The Missing Origins. Now, despite all of this modern fame, the merchandise, the wikis, and the heavy gamification, we arrive at a highly ironic mystery regarding the Rake's actual creation. For a creature so meticulously documented in fiction, its real-world genesis is currently vanishing. As of August 2024, digital archaeologists on the Lost Media Wiki forums, like a user named Brixblobs, are actively hunting for those original 2005 4chan threads. They have the text itself because it's been copied and pasted over the years, but the actual original source thread where the prompt, "Hey/B, let's make a new monster," was first posted, it seems to have completely vanished from the web. Despite scouring internet archives, the exact moment of birth for this digital icon is currently considered lost media. Which brings us to our conclusion, and it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. We are constantly told that the internet is forever, right? That whatever you post never really goes away. But if the birthplace of one of the internet's absolute most famous monsters, a creature recognized by millions and literally coded into massive video games, can simply disappear and be lost to time, is our digital history ever truly permanent? It really makes you wonder what else we might be forgetting. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.